If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all of Nicole's work at typingwhentipsy.wordpress.com. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex. Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, MikeMercado2333.
What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
another day at the office, I get to go out there and test my skill.
To award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.
And here we go.
Get ready, get set for the best movie and pop culture talk in the universe. It's the Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves with your hosts, Alex Mercado and Mike Mercado.
How's it going, everyone? Your friendly neighborhood podcasters are back. I am Alex. That's Mike. Say hi, Mike.
Hi.
And we are the Good Brothers, and we're here to talk about everything in the universe. But we're going to start off in the Spider-Verse, Mike.
Yes, sir. But before we get tangled up in a web, you can follow us everywhere in the universe. Alex is on Twitter at Mercado21Alex. I'm at mmercado2333. You can follow Nicole at typingwhentipsy. She's also on Instagram at typingwhentipsy. You can catch Alex flexing and showing us all those crazy Peter Parker muscles at Mercado2121. I'm at Mike Mercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube at the Mercado Airwaves Network. We're on your favorite podcast website. Just get us at Mercado Airwaves. Like, rate, review, and share. Check us out at Patreon. Patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. And, of course, a huge thank you to our sponsors at Munch Art Design. Alex, to get into the Spider-Verse.
All right, so we had 3 big Spider-Man newses. We had a new Spider-Man Enter the Spider-Verse trailer, Miles Morales. We had a sneak peek at Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. And then, biggest news of all, we have, I guess, biggest news, Venom comes out this week.
It's probably the biggest news, yeah, because it's coming out.
I mean, we're more excited about Spider-Verse stuff, but, I mean, we're going to see Venom tomorrow. So, I mean, you can tell the folks, how's the early reviews for Venom looking?
Well, not that. Here's the thing. The reviews have been coming in, and for the most part, they've been negative. As we go on through the show, I'll go ahead and give everybody the Rotten Tomatoes score so far and what some of the embargoes that was lifted earlier Tuesday have been. But starting out there, it's starting Tom Hardy. I do not know yet the post-credit scenes. There's apparently 2 of them. Apparently, some people already know who they are who haven't seen the movie because it's going on.
Yeah, you're right.
Hasn't leaked yet.
I haven't personally seen any even articles leaking it.
So let's start there. What do you think the post-credit scenes
Carnage.
are?
It's Carnage.
You think one is Carnage?
Yeah.
And what do you think the other one is? Do you think the other one's a joke, or do you think the other one's...
It's a joke, because I don't think we've had any incline saying they're going to connect it so dead forward. I could see them bringing up the name Peter Parker. The late, great Josh Snap went to their grave saying that Tom Holland was showing up in this movie. I don't think that's happening, but maybe we do get a mention of, oh, look at this. Who wrote this article about Venom? Oh, this guy, Peter Parker, but that wouldn't make sense in Sony and this. And, never mind. I don't know, honestly, dude. I think one's a joke, one's Carnage.
I think one is Spider-Man, one's Carnage.
Oh, you think it's Tom Holland?
I think it's Tom Holland.
I would love that, dude.
I think the only reason why we haven't heard this movie getting destroyed as much as we think we were going to is because it has Disney's machine behind it.
And let's be honest, there's some people saying, listen, guys, this isn't a Marvel-level movie, but this is a fun movie. They're like, it's very 90s, and, if you're not into that, you're not going to like it, but they've gone out and said, listen, it's Tom Hardy's good. Venom is good. Those 2 guys are good together. The acting is good, I've heard. I heard the story's a little crazy.
Well, what do you expect?
But exactly. But I'm not hearing Fantastic Four crazy. I'm just saying it's not a great story.
Let me ask you this, Alex, about story. If you obviously knowing the lore of Venom because you're actually a fan of Spider-Man, but let's just say for the general public who only knowledge of Venom is from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3, what would you... It's hard to really... Like, I guess we could come up with stories, but without Spider-Man, it's hard to make an easy good movie. Like, now, no movie making is easy, but that idea of in that realm, in that world, it's not as easy to make a great Venom movie without Spider-Man.
Like, you're starting with a side character. Like, it's like if we made a movie, like not a show, a movie, Nightwing, before we ever got a Batman, ever. I'm saying ever.
Or without him
in
being...
that universe.
Yeah,
in that universe. Like, if they just said, okay, we had the Christian Bale Batmans, our new slate is Man of Steel 1, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Nightwing. Like, you're not going to introduce the new Batman first? Like, that's how this feels. It's like, okay, I get... Like, if it connects, it makes sense. And again, if it does, then it makes sense why people aren't killing it. Because they're like, okay, we have Tom Holland, we have this. How would you feel if at the end, you know how he's playing Black? If at the end we see a spider logo kind of appear on his thing, like maybe he sees Spider-Man in the distance.
That's what I think it is.
And then the symbiote Spider-Man. I love that. I think that'd be cool.
I don't think we're ever gonna get the spider logo on him. I think they're trying to go for their own thing. I think it'd be cool if they did.
I wish they did. That's my favorite.
But I think that's the idea of that's where we're gonna see him. It's gonna be some interaction. I honestly believe we're in a weird place now where too much money is being moved around and there's too much money invested that everything isn't connected. And this is the problem, is obviously because it's Marvel specifically. This is the only reason why I'm saying this, because this is what they do. I think it is connected. I don't think anything that touches like those other IPs will not be. There is a reason why you've never been teased with the X-Men and Marvel.
Yeah.
They've never done that.
Because there wasn't an option.
But this is different. I think it depends on who you listen to. If you we'll go with names specifically. If you listen to one of the godfathers of pop culture movie podcasting, John Campea is much more of a person who's conservative with this deal. He believes that things are much more on Sony's side and so on and so forth. But I'm a sports guy. This isn't our sports show. I bet the odds and the trends and what people tell me. The bigger dog on the table is Walt Disney. Walt Disney does not associate with bad flicks. And if I believe, which they made bad flicks, but what I'm saying is, with that marketing machine behind, and if Spider-Man is in that movie, there's a reason why. There is a reason why. This movie, I don't think this movie gets made unless Disney says, cool.
Yeah, and it's Tom Hardy, and he wanted to do it. I think there's a lot of good pieces. And it's projected, like, obviously projections are complete nonsense, and honestly, by tomorrow, it's going to change. The early projections from this week, Tuesday, were, because it's going to get to Star is Born. And both movies are projected to do very well.
Star is Born is going to do better. Remember how I think it was 2 weeks ago, I thought it would be a little bit bigger gap? I think it's going to be much more of like a 60-40 gap.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I think, so the early projections were 60 for Venom,
Oh, see?
30 for Star is
Okay,
Born.
there you go.
I think it's going to be maybe 50 and 40.
I agree.
45 and 35.
Yeah.
Like, I think it would be within 10 million.
Sure.
But I think they both do very well.
Yeah,
I think
I
they
agree.
both do really well. Because all Venom has to make is about that much money.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to get a sequel.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be fine. It's not going to... I think it's going to do good. I think it's going to be fun enough. And Venom's a great character because everyone knows Venom. I know big guys like us, big-chested guys, we're like, that's our Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's Eddie Brock, because he was more of like a... Okay, I can't relate to the skinny guy because I'd fall off a swing. But this Venom guy that's jacked, I kind of like him. And
He's much of a bro.
He's a bro. He's not a bad guy either. Like, he's bad, but he's an anti-hero.
Yeah.
And I love anti-heroes. Like, we're nerds for it. And you and me are very different because I go in to me, all superhero movies, I put them in a bubble together.
Sure.
So, like, there's only very few that get out of the bubble that, like the original Avengers, Dark Knight. Like, I think, to me, and we'll talk about it later with South Park, I don't think story-wise, obviously, Black Panther was as good as we remember it. I agree. I don't think what made Infinity War good was the story. No, I thought it actually was a better story than we give credit, but it was just the atmosphere, the movie itself.
Well, it's funny, and
story never saves these movies, except a few rare ones.
It's funny you bring that up because there was a pundit who brought up, well, you know, sorry to bother you, and Black Panther will not get loved and nominated at the Academy Awards, which is true, but it's not because they're black films. Black Panther doesn't deserve to be a top 10. its impact is bigger than an Academy Award. It's what it did financially is bigger for what it's done to bring prominent black actors onto the forefront is bigger than anything an Academy Award can do. And here's the fact. Both things can be true. We can live in a reality where it's a great, important movie that deserves every accolade, and it's not an Academy Award-winning movie. And there's a difference, though. We went into Black Panther with those expectations. This is Venom. This is not a socially, politically important movie. This is a movie about a symbiote.
And it's bipolar.
It was bipolar, talking to himself.
Tom Hardy is king of those. I think that's fun that you brought that up. Because it was Mr. J. Washington, and he
shout out Chicago,
guy. Another Chicago boy, and he said he named 4 movies, and I remember it was Sorry to Bother You,
Black Klansman,
White Boy Rick, and
Black Panther,
and he says I'm ashamed, and I agree with you in the sense where I don't necessarily think those movies should be nominated.
2 of them
great
do.
Movies, and I'll say this: we changed our tone because you're on the tone now. I don't think Black Panther is nominated. I reversed it because I think when they changed the verdict of we're not doing popular film, that they're going to at least leave one spot open. And what better? I think that's Black Panther. I think Black Panther gets that 10th nomination.
That's different than, what I should have said is that's different than saying I think it should win.
Yes.
Being nominated when you have the 10 positions.
I think they have to go to 10 now, and they have to do at least 1 or 2 popular films.
But that's
because they canceled the other award, which we knew they would. Then they're like, listen, guys, all we need you to do is just use all 10 slots.
I agree. I get that, but I think my when I think of Black Panther, and it's in my heart, that movie specifically that came out this past February in 2018, to me, it's bigger than any award can ever give it to. Even obviously, if it was a no-brainer and you're like, yes, this Dances with Wolves, this is Avatar, this is whatever, this is The Dark Knight, this is Goodfellas, The Revenant, this is
that movie was a bore.
If it was something, I get it. This wasn't that. This was a great movie. There's a lot of great movies. I mean, how many great movies don't get nominated for Academy Awards over and over and over again? Ben Foster and Chris Pine. What was that? The movie with the brothers. Hell or High Water. To me, that was the best movie of that year.
It didn't win.
And it didn't win.
I thought Arrival was good. Just because it's entertaining.
Yes, that's a great way.
And again,
it's
an
bigger.
Show.
It's bigger. And this is where I want us to get to. I think it's bigger than the Academy Awards because it did something different. And you know what it is? Should Crazy Rich Asians win the Academy Award for Best Film?
No.
But you know what it did? It did something bigger than winning an award.
Yeah.
It made it possible and probable and bankable to put prominent Asian actors in front of the screen.
Asians are funny. Get over it.
But think about it. It's
Women are
huge.
Funny. Get over it.
It's huge. It's huge. We're in
Classic
that play now.
person.
So
we pretty much determined the money. We got a tangent about Oscars, but that's because we're talking about superhero movies.
So going back to Venom,
and now they're getting in it. Well, I think we can move on to the next 2 parts of our story while we're in Spider-Verse. The quick one is we finally saw Jake Gyllenhaal in Mysterio. Is it Mysterio or Mysterion?
Is Mysterion is
South Park.
Mysterion. Yeah. Now let's go into. I got some questions for you. One, obviously the funny joke is kind of looks like Thor's costume.
Yeah.
But it would look different. Obviously,
you gotta have a helmet on.
Yeah. Do you think? And here's the funny thing. It's funny because the people who made the Insomniac Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4, they brought this up. They're like, Spider-Man is one of those interesting characters, just like Batman and just like Superman, that there's so many different entry points and so many different timelines in which people were entered. So for Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, they were brought in. Some were brought in from cartoons in the early 60s. Some were brought in from the comic books. Some were brought in from video games. Some were brought in from movies only. Yeah. There's people who only know Spider-Man from the movies, and not just Tobey Maguire. Some people now only knew Andrew Garfield. Some people only know Tom Holland. And it's interesting because Spider-Man is one of those characters where there's so many different entry points. And with going to the Mysterio point was some people find him to be a goofy character. But I think to you and I, we grew up in a point where there was a lot of respect thrown his name.
He was the second main bad guy.
He was a Sinister Six.
He was big.
Yeah.
But I think that's funny because you and me started having this debate, obviously, and it goes with the Spider-Verse. It's in the Spider-Verse, the new trailer they have 6 Spider-Men, and it's very modern and very hip. And I think that goes back to our topic that we're going to talk about here is Spider-Man's popularity nowadays. And we're big nerds. And I think I'm lucky because I get to see a person like my dad. He's very cynical, and he likes to push buttons just to push buttons to be fun. And I work with children. little boys and little girls, like from 4 to 18. So I get to see what are they watching? It's Fortnite, by the way, people. It's mostly 90% of what they do is Fortnite. Yeah. But I think, like you said, it's interesting. So our generation was the TV show, the video game, and the Tobey Maguire movies. That's our generation. Nickelback, all that. That's ours from the 90s to the early 2000s. That's our Spider-Man. And some people, that's Prime Spider-Man. That was one of the best Spider-Man video games. That was one of the best animated shows. Which I think, side note, I think it's funny because he wasn't a nerd in that show. He was kind of a badass in that show. Peter Parker.
Yeah, Peter Parker.
He's buff. He's chiseled. I'm like, I didn't know Nerd Spider-Man. So that's like you said, like my Spider-Man coming in, and then when I got in the movie, I'm like, Spider-Man's not a nerd. He's a buff guy.
Well, you want to know how I was introduced to Spider-Man really fast? Is because you just brought that up, that your introduction was that 1994.
It was a show, like, obviously there was comics, but like, our parents weren't going to buy us fancy comics. It was going to be like cheap dollar store comics.
And some of them were Spider-Man. So like because they were the True Believer versions. But my introduction was at the good old Scholastic Book Fair. I was just looking through, and there was a little Spider-Man. Basically, it was like a little encyclopedia. And it was.
I remember you had this. Yeah.
I read this thing like it was the Bible. Remember you busted your foot on one of my Spider-Man toys that was his futuristic spaceship.
It was actually my futuristic Spider-Man ship. But yes, I still have the scar. It was in the. It was like a random. For some reason, he had a ship and it flipped open and shot things. Why Spider-Man had so many cars and ships?
I also had a Spider-Man card. I had a Spider-Man symbiote. Yes. I was obsessed with Spider-Man. He was my favorite.
I have one of your old black symbiote toys in my room still.
Right, one of my favorite Spider-Man memorabilia that I actually got lost after our parents got divorced. And we moved out of the house. I had a velvet Spider-Man the movie, the first one. Poster that glowed in the dark from Spencer's. It was super dope. It was
we had all the shooters. We had the web shooter things that made a mess. We broke them.
But it's funny when we're talking about the introductions in that encyclopedia thing. I've always kind of knew after I watched the cartoon and then getting that book, I kind of just always merged the two. Yeah. And it goes into like what he was. But the Spider-Verse trailer, I think the cool part of it is Spider-Man has such a history, such a lore. And what I think that they're starting to realize is if you incorporate how much fun you can have with Deadpool with Spider-Man, because the fact of the matter is there is no Deadpool without Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's the original fourth wall breaker. He's the original, like, I know what I am and I know you're watching.
He was 90s. He was like grunge for us. He was a punk. He was fun.
So you saw that in the trailer.
He was quippy. I think it's fun. And I think what else shows in the trailer is that, and you and me have had this argument with Superman and was she white or black? And I think what Marvel does so well is they back up what they say. Anyone can be Spider-Man. Yeah. There are so many Spider-Men, and they're all different but cool at the same way. Like they all carry the same with great power comes great responsibility angle. At the same time, where the difference is there's this one, there's this one, there's a woman, there's this one. Like there's so many that you can relate to different ones. Yeah. Like there are girls growing up with Spider-Gwen. There are boys growing up with Miles instead of Peter, or even the future Spider-Man. Like, I'm not, obviously, those are my favorite personal three. I like Spider-Pig, too, the one that's in there, just because once I heard of it, I thought it was cute. But, you know what I mean? I think that's what Spider-Man has earned so well, is that they really push to be like, listen, you're a small Native American boy? Guess what? We have a Spider-Man out there. He may not come up a lot, but he exists. And, that's cool. And I feel like that, let's do that more than change characters.
I understand.
I don't want to change Clark Kent. Peter Parker's Peter Parker. Miles Morales is Miles Morales. Spider-Gwen is Spider-Gwen. They're their own people. It's okay to have similar storylines, but be your own person instead of being well, we got to satisfy these people. Let's do this. Oh, but I don't want to make them angry. Well, why don't you create new content and hire writers?
Okay, and I think that's a very well taken point. I disagree in this aspect. If we lived in a world where we only had the ability, and Marvel and all the years and decades of building these characters up, that we finally live in a society that they're willing to put money in it, so now we don't have to choose. Yeah. Now we can get it all. If we had to choose and it was Peter Parker's going to be black in this movie, the only way this movie get made, it should be that way. But we don't live in a reality anymore that you can have Miles Morales.
Yeah,
people know Miles Morales.
I guess because I was about to get me heated. I'm we don't need to argue that anymore.
No, we have Miles Morales.
Obviously, and like I said, we've had this debate before. We're not going to go back into it. You go back and do your research, people, because we talked about this.
But I have one question about the Spider-Verse to you, and it's a little bit of a fun one. One of my favorite Spider-Man, and maybe I'm a little bit weird, but anytime a new Spider-Man game comes out, I always get excited for the costumes because Spider-Man has such an amazing.
That's part of the game.
It's part of the game, and it's part of like his lore.
Same with Batman.
What exactly? One of my favorite Spider-Man is 2099. A lot of people's Miguel O'Hara.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you think we've already saw that there's Spider-Man Noir? We saw Spider-Pig. Spider-Pig, I believe, or Spider-Ham. I forget. Peter Porker, yeah.
Peter Porker,
we've seen, obviously, Ghost Spider, which is Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales.
I like the dark suit one, the Noir one.
That's Spider-Man Noir.
I don't know much about him, but he looks cool.
It's Peter Parker, but obviously in a noir setting. Like, it's still Peter.
He looks cool. I like him.
There's actually been a lot of video games that really rely... So the trinity of Spider-Man typically is Spider-Man Noir, Symbiote Spidey, and Miguel O'Hara on top of Peter Parker, original Spider-Man. A lot of video games have kind of made that the main big ones. Yeah, Scarlet Spider really isn't one anymore. The Iron Spider suit isn't really one until Infinity War came out. Yeah. Recently, yeah. And honestly, everybody, I would argue, the most favorite alternate costume of any superhero is the Black Spidey suit. It is so weird that the symbiote suit it really is weird. Like, and that's why I think Venom has so much love behind it, is because how. You think about it. People have a favorite Batman costume, but nobody ever gets excited about like Batman costumes. Yeah. They're just like, you have your favorite. You either love him with the navy blue, or you like him with the all black, or you like him with the gray.
They're a little more similar. Yeah. They don't change. Like, it's just like one's kind of has this hat and this one.
Tell me a suit though that had defined the character more than the symbiote suit and the red and blue Spider-Man suit.
What you compare it to is like when it came to advertising was like the classic Batman yellow logo.
Sure.
Other than that, but like that's really more in the real world, not really the character. That's more just how you sold it. Because obviously that Spider-Man, like the Spider-Man logo is famous. And I would argue that sometimes the symbiote one, the gray and black one's a little bit more
That's
famous.
what I'm asking.
And that one is the one you see more, just like the Batman yellow one. When the movie came out, it's like, oh, these shirts are going to be big. Or like the classic Superman red and blue one.
So I wonder if in this universe, in this movie... Because obviously, you can listen to my review and our review of Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4. Spoiler. There is no symbiote suit. And they tease symbiotes. We think they tease symbiotes in there. And the director of the game told us there's a reason why it's not just an unlockable character. Yeah. But yet in so many other Spider-Man video games, it's either a catalyst of the story or it's just given to you. It's already been there.
It's
like, it's part of the lore.
Yeah.
So I wonder if in the Spider-Verse... Because there's Venom, because we're in space in Infinity War,
they're gonna put it all together.
Is it gonna come together in this movie?
On a spoiler, I saw this thing online and you typed it out, and I was like, oh, I actually knew about that before you did. And I haven't even played the game. That's because I'm a little sneak and I like to look at the stuff about J. Jonah's son that's in space.
Yes,
that they mentioned him coming back. He's the one that brings it down. I think that was like, oh,
yeah, I never noticed.
So once you told me it wasn't in there, I was like, oh, okay, I put two and two together. Yeah. So I guarantee you probably had that aha moment too. You're like,
so funny story. You can check us out on our social media. But I'm trying to platinum the Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4. And I had heard that some people always just kind of randomly through for the game developers, they sometimes put little Easter eggs on and I hated that Twitter feed because I'm like, I'm not gonna sit there and read this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm just like, you know what? I beat the game. Let me just kind of see what BS they have there.
Something fun, probably.
And then I just kind of went through it, and you almost could pass by it, and it mentions space. And all I saw was the word space first. And I'm like, oh. And then it talks about J. Jonah's son coming back.
Junior, right?
And obviously, for anybody who either watched Sam Raimi's
Part 3
or the show knows.
And in comic books, too.
Well, and see, here's the
certain ones,
yeah.
It's always a spaceship, but certain times it's
different
his
ways.
Son and it's not his son.
Yeah. And then there's times where, like, he's given to it in space already, and, like, there's a lot of different things that go into it. But, yeah, essentially it's the same thing. So I thought that was kind of cool. So I'm assuming it's already on Earth, and it's just going to eventually make its way to Part 2.
Spider-Man games are great, and same with the Arkham games, where they give you those little hints, like in the original Spider-Man, where Stan Lee does the narration for the suits.
Yeah,
and you see the comic books, and when they showed up...
Hello, true believers.
But you have to wait on it, and you have to click it, and they do fun stuff. So
the Submariner.
I think we've been in the Spider-Verse long enough.
It's a great time. So before we move on, because I know everybody's excited for it, your level of excitement first... Venom, are you excited just because your expectations are a little bit low?
I think mine are higher now because I just want to have fun.
Spider-Verse. Is this the most anticipated animated film of the year for you now?
This could be the best animated film for me of the year. And up there for superhero. Not best one, but maybe top 3.
Okay,
There's
cool.
a lot of those.
Cool.
So.
And give me a surprise you think we're going to get in Spider-Verse? What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
Another day at the office, I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing,
How are
buddy?
you, sir? I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.
If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all of Nicole's work at typingwhentipsy.wordpress.com. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex. Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, MikeMercado2333.
Okay, because I think this is their way of making
Venom
the Ultimate
or
Universe.
or symbiote or something.
Because I think it ends with, I think the only people that stick around in the Spider-Man movie are Spider-Gwen and Miles.
Oh, actually, I changed my mind. I think maybe one of the Avengers shows up.
Maybe.
In animated form.
But I think for sure that this is Marvel and Sony's way of doing the Ultimate Universe, because everything now is going to be in live action is going to be directly Peter Parker only. Like, that is it. It is only Peter in live action. Miles is going to be our animated crusher. So he's going to crush our animated movies forever. That's my opinion.
For like another 10 years.
Yeah. What else you got for us, good brother?
Okay, so now that we're on Spider-Verse, we're back here. Usually this is when we would do sports, but I'm going to announce that instead of us doing sports on this show, Mike has pushed forward with a new show, and it's, Sports from the Couch. I think it's great, and I hate Mike's voice. So if I think it's great, you'll think it's great. That's Mike's passion. Obviously, a little behind the peaks here. Sometimes we, like any podcast, you're going to try to create new content, and you got to test it out. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. When we feel like it hits, we move forward with this.
Right.
And sports is hitting. It's debatable. It's a great time of year right now to go, and we got to strike while it's hot. We're almost a year into it, and that would be our fourth show. So Mike's going to be doing that on his own. I think Mike's the more educated. This is your real life job, honestly. So I think that's going to be better off there. We'll also talk about our amazing fantasy teams here and a couple little things like obviously the Cubs broke our hearts. Bears are great.
And you can check all that on Sports from the Couch.
We're going to leave that to Mike. And so now we have obviously Murder Mysteries and more. We have Typing When Tipsy. We have Sports from the Couch. And we have the Good Brothers. And, I think we're going to try to push for a TV portion show. We'll still do that here for like South Park reviews and anything. But I think that'll be our next step. And we obviously want to test it out first before. But now, Sports from the Couch, that's the new one that's the little baby brother now.
Yeah, check it out.
It's here to stay. So
and just check it out. We've done episodes so far. Like, obviously, there's a lot of Chicago talk in there because that's where we're looking at.
Yeah, man, a lot.
But I definitely try to hit national talk. And again, it's not about talking to you, it's talking with you. It's a lot about what you guys have to say. And more than anything, it's just like what we do here on this show and all our other shows is just trying to
banter
and just try to make sense of some of this craziness that happens. And honestly, I consider us kind of like therapists, whereas like we're unlicensed therapists. We're kind of here just to talk you through stuff.
Yes, I get your terror, like you're upset. Joe managed to be fired, and I guess you say it's not his fault. But that's why we're here to talk to Mike and talk to him about it. So
really fast, you want to know our fantasy stuff really fast?
I do, but tell the audience, Mike.
So, okay, Wakanda's Most Wanted. This is in our second league. There's 3 main leagues. We'll call this one the second tier one. This is the official Good Brothers team of the Mercado Airwaves Network.
Team.
Yeah. So we are 3-1 and in second place. We are absolutely killing it, and it's a good league. It is a flex league, so you get a flex player in there that's only wide receiver and a tight end. But just to give you a little information, we have 653 points scored for us. which leads the league. And just to give you guys our starting lineup right now, Kirk Cousins, Michael Thomas, Juju Smith-Schuster, Melvin Gordon, Tevin Coleman for now, Eric Ebron, and Will Fuller with LaShawn McCoy, Robert Woods, Marvin Jones Jr., Wilkins, Theo Riddick, Chris Ivory, Darren Sproles on our roster with the number 1 waiver pick, the second record, and most points scored.
So we're
in a good spot.
So now we have another team that's with the station. I wouldn't call it 50-50. Mike is the owner. I would have like a 3% stake in it because I am more a consultant. For drafts, how's that team doing?
And it's A-League, as we're calling it. This one, there is no name to it. We lost the right to our name, but the guy who's supposed to name us has not given it us. So I have just gone as
Nomads.
Basically unknown. That is our name right now. Starting with a record of 1-3, but in 9th place with the 3rd most points scored.
I know Mike drafted that team.
But with the most points scored against, which is usually a bad case.
That's like Mike's MO, I feel.
Cam Newton, Golden Tate, Amari Cooper, Melvin Gordon, TJ Yeldon, Vance McDonald, John Brown, Leonard Fournette, Will Fuller, Matt Breida, Isaiah Crowell, Austin Eckler, and Corey Grant, with Mason Crosby and the Baltimore defense. A pretty solid team. And it's a pretty interesting league because unlike the Wakanda's Most Wanted, there's no flex. Yeah. And it is a shorter bench, so your waivers matter much more. Yeah. You do not get the extra bench spot.
Let's be honest, less fun.
It's definitely more tedious in the sense that it has the biggest payout and it has the bigger trophy, which makes it the harder league. Yeah, you earn it more. But I honestly, everybody says this about their fantasy league. Objectively, I think our B team has a really good chance if healthy to kind of run the team. I think our B team's going to win.
Obviously, Mike, your A team never wins. Like, I don't know what.
It's a hard league.
You got to let me help draft. Mike never. The rule of our thing.
Well, the team that you help draft.
Mike has all 100% over draft. He can listen if he wants, but he has 100%. I have 50-50 with the roster change. So if I feel like I should change someone, but usually by the time the roster's out, we agree.
Yeah.
I have my own A league, which I am 3-1 in because I draft the best team.
But it's a standard league. It's a different league.
It's okay. It's still got just as big of a payout as yours and a trophy.
For those who are wondering, scoring system.
69-yard line.
Nice. For those of you who are wondering, scoring system, the Wakanda's Most Wanted and the Unknown is full PPR in Yahoo. So for any of you guys who are big nerds,
I'm one, dude. I'm ESPN, not PPR.
Yeah, ESPN Standard, which is again its own scoring system. But yeah, Alex, that is our side of
Al, you
sports.
missed one, Michael, because we played each other in our kind of our farm league system, and I am 3-1 in that, and I whooped you kind of good this week.
Yes, you did.
And by a lot.
And unfortunately, your boy here is 0-4, and he's going against the other.
That's like our farm league system. But what's funny is we were like some big shots this year. We all put $50, so it's a family league almost. So you, me, Cisco, Marcos, and Jeff. So the rule is, we did 5 people. We said, okay, since this is more of an online thing and we don't have a lot of people that do it, like we have people, but we don't see each other a lot. Us 5 are going to put up $50 cash, and we're not going to do any side bets or nothing. Like all that's going to happen is this: whoever ends the season, the highest ranked team. We could get literally 12th, 11th, 10th, 9th, and 8th. 8th place is going to be the champion of our family for that year. Yeah. None of us can make the playoffs, and we still need a winner. So, Mike, you're still in it technically.
Yeah, well, you want to know the worst part? I won last year's league, and none of that was implied for it. So, of course, you had to change it.
Changes because of Mike winning. So,
yeah, of course.
That's up fantasy. So, technically, I have the upper hand now. I'm the better fantasy football
but hopefully,
manager.
You guys are all having as much fun as we are. Let us know your biggest
I'm sure you're stressed
blunders. I'm sure. But at the end of the day, it's always fun.
Week 4.
Enjoy it for what it is. Good, brother. What else you got for us?
Okay, so TV, the new episode of South Park came out, and we were a little worried. Not worried, but we were like, how are they going to do this shooting dead kids thing? And like South Park always does, they're very clever.
Yeah.
It was a background. They didn't show any kids getting shot.
Yeah.
They didn't say anything. It's basically the whole episode is, the kids have grown up in a normalized society of school shootings just happen. Yeah. And it just does. Like, hey, school shootings happen. Okay. Like, they're not treating it a big deal. And Stan's mom is. So, and the whole side joke is, we're not getting too much because it's gross, but Randy's like, she's on her period, menopause. Yeah. And it's really trying to be like, why is everyone so okay with school shootings now? Which is a very big topic that coaching these little kids like the drills they do now. Like one kid described a drill they did, and they carry around fake guns now, fake foam guns around, and like when they do the drills now, instead of just doing the door. And I'm like, that's the society we live in, though.
Yeah.
That they have to.
Yeah.
And I thought the episode was very clever in that. And the whole joke that we had was, the whole thing is Cartman is mad at Token.
Yeah.
And we don't know why. And because he wouldn't let him cheat on him. And Token's like, he's like, is it because you saw Black Panther without your parents knowing? And we find out, no, it was the fact that he saw it and he didn't like it.
Yeah.
And Cartman's basically saying, like, guys, get over it. Like, Black Panther wasn't that good. And it wasn't that hype. And
we talked about earlier.
Me and Mike have both agreed saying, like, listen, the movie itself, no, yeah, the rhinos are dumb. The story is kind of long. But the movie's great just overall, like the feeling, the atmosphere, yeah. The acting is phenomenal, but yes,
the casino scene is one of the best
Marvel
Marvel
there's
scenes.
a lot of stupid stuff in it. Like that's just movies. Like you're not gonna find a movie like of that kind of superhero-ness that's not gonna have something you're like, that's kind of dumb.
Well, except for the Godfather suit, which you
I
can
tried
hear,
the superhero
which you can hear in the archives. Alex and I gush all over that, and the Dark
Why
Knight,
it's
all over
perfect.
that. Yeah, we for all those wondering, we will, because I think we got a lot of good response. And it is great because of Black Panther and South Park, which are shows that people just love talking about. We will every once in a while, when there's a centennial or something that we could talk about to glamorize one of the great films, and you'll hear us gush. Maybe we'll make that a Patreon exclusive of Alex and I
you
dissecting
kind
a
of heard
movie.
us talk about just Spider-Man now, and we were talking before the show. We're not going to do it on the show. Of we'll save it up. Is Spider-Man surpassing Batman as the logo of superheroes? And we both have different opinions, so we're going to save that. We're not going to give you that now, but just know that that's going to happen sometime. So I thought South Park was great.
How are you liking Mayans?
Mayans is fantastic. Mayans is fantastic.
It got renewed.
Dude, it got renewed. Yes, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think the writing is so much better on Mayans than it was on Sons of Anarchy.
Okay,
But that's because I'm Hispanic and I get the little innuendos, the slang.
Yeah.
And I just think the writing, and like Dave wrote an article, Variety did, of like why the story writing is different. And I think it's honestly directing to Kurt Sutter. He's grown up.
That's exactly what I was
He's
going to
matured.
say.
He learned he's learned from his things, and he's like, okay, he got the right people around him. He surrounded himself with actors that not only act, but they can produce. And I think he's living in this world without having to connect it. And he's giving you everything we loved about Sons of Anarchy, like the grittiness, the toughness, the cliche 90s chases, and the bar, like, hey, no guns. This bar fighting each other. But at the same time, he's giving more heart and soul to this one. It's like you have, like, 10 Jaxes. You know, like, kind of, I thought the writing toward the end got, like, in the middle was really good. It got real emotional with every character. Then it jumped the gun a little bit.
It got a little superficial.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But I think, like, he started off this series in, like, season 4 of Sons of Anarchy good, where it's like, damn, like, I feel like I've been watching for 3 seasons.
But here's the thing, though. I think just like anything else, and they got off the ship just in time. I think Breaking Bad is the perfect show that got off at the right time, where your protagonist, who also is an antagonist at points, you need to end it early because Jax was on television too much at that point. He had become a superhero.
Guys, you can't do hour-long television, 22-episode seasons. We found out from TW it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, it works money-wise. And this works, but we're talking about, like, critically. It doesn't work for the superheroes. Why is Breaking Bad good? Not only was it only 5 seasons, it was 13 episodes.
Yeah.
They went to 16, and they tore that into half.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't as much as you thought. Why? And look at Walking Dead, 18. It's too much.
Can I ask you a question about television too? And it has a little bit to do with sports, but not really. But it does. HBO drops boxing, and for a lot of us who have been in the inside of fighting, HBO is the king of boxing.
It's bound to happen.
But it's bound to happen. And the reason why a lot of sports fans, and you got to remember, Alex, just because our show is pop culture and you're the one who always brings this up, some people just have their lane. And for some people, it's only sports. Yes. So HBO to them was only where you get boxing. They don't realize that, and I had to explain this to some sports people, was
good boxing on ESPN.
Yeah, but not just that. You don't need to pay Canelo $50 million anymore when people literally subscribe for your channel only for Game of Thrones sometimes, or only for reruns of The Sopranos, or whatever the next great show is. HBO is not in the business of sports anymore. They're in the business of sports documentaries, sports shows, and great original programming. They're not in it to give you live programming.
They don't need to.
No, Showtime is doing that. Showtime with Money Mayweather.
Like they have the documentaries. They have the series like Game of Thrones, The Deuce, Watchmen's coming out. You have Westworld is signing a bunch of big
So
actors.
I wanted to get your opinion of that.
Sopranos, The Wire,
So
Oz.
explain it to to people who listen to who migrate from our sports show into this show because they hear me here is what is the best way you can describe why you would get rid of the thing that you got Canelo used to, Triple G?
But you're paying more than you're getting, honestly. It's like people aren't paying for HBO for boxing. Like you said, they'll buy the pay-per-view or they'll legally get the pay-per-view, let's be honest. But like I told someone asked me, like, do you have HBO? I'm like, yeah, I have HBO. They're like, why? I'm like, because it has some of the best movies, some of the best TV shows. I'm like, it's one of the best networks, some of the best documentaries, some of the best sports stuff. Like, I personally think HBO is definitely worth it. Like, I don't have any shame. Like, yeah, I have my Netflix and Hulu. You have the network that I steal from you.
Yeah.
The WWE Network. I'm sure you guys have an Amazon because everyone has an Amazon account. Yeah, I pay for HBO, y'all. You have it on your cable package too, cause it's that good, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, like, if you're us and you like when people pay $80 for pay-per-view, for a boxing match, UFC match. I'm like, I think it's funny, like you said, some people are like such nerds with sports and they think it's weird to be a nerd about something else. I'm like, you're just a nerd for sports. Like, that's the same thing. Like, your fantasy team is make-believe as these superhero movies or these shows I'm watching.
Dungeon
it doesn't
D&D.
change. That's what I'm saying. Like, you pay for entertainment. And to me, yes, $14.99 a month is definitely worth. I'm getting my money's worth for the shows I'm watching. And yeah, I could get them illegally, but in our field, I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
I think you should at least pay. You should pay.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that hard. Like, if you can't afford to do all this stuff, then, like, watch something else for a couple months until it comes out of Redbox.
No, for sure. And I just wanted to get your thought on that. And really fast, too, we might do something breaking news-wise later on in the week. But really fast, pop culture-wise, Conor McGregor's a huge star. He always kind of hits the vein of it. Really hasn't happened this time around with this fight against Khabib Nurmagomedov, who's arguably the greatest grappler the UFC's ever seen, trying to go to be 27-0. But it's obviously not Mayweather. But Conor could still sell 2 million pay-per-views. For somebody who's not into the fight game as much, or not at all, I mean, you've even mentioned it here on the show. Has it hit that?
I'll be honest, like, the normal people aren't talking about UFC.
Which is so interesting.
But UFC's always been like that, where they get hot the days before. So I'll give them that. I'm not saying like to diss them, because I think they're smart enough to be like, we'll start being extra hype this week or something.
Right now it's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, right
like,
now.
they don't do the whole build for 6 months. Like, they do, but
They try
don't-
to.
They try to. They don't have that down. But I do think their day-to-day stuff, the week of, is great. I think they do a really good job there. I'm more of a big heavyweight guy myself, so like Brock Lesnar,
Daniel Cormier,
those
Stephen
old school
Wojcik.
guys,
Yeah,
I like them.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor, I like his memes. I'm not a huge Conor fan.
I'm actually a huge Conor fan.
He's fine. Like, I'm not one of those fanatics that think he's the greatest thing ever.
No,
obviously he's been shown that he's not even the best fighter ever.
I think the thing between Conor McGregor and it's more of a magic thing. It's like, unlike other sports where it can happen so fast and all it takes is one touch. I think he's one of those guys who just has a magic touch where he can knock somebody out, and that's great for highlights. But I've seen great fighters. We've interviewed great fighters here on the network.
I've seen better fighters over. I've seen better fights. Conor McGregor's a star. Like, he's fun.
Yeah. He's
Like,
a superstar.
I love the way he says, "Fuck you."
Yeah, fuck you. Who the fuck
who
is
the
this?
fuck is
Who
this
the
guy?
fuck is this guy?
You're this fucking guy. Like, I like that.
So-
Like, he's fun to mimic. But no, I'm not a huge McGregor. I was like, I like Ronda.
I just thought so. Yeah, I mean,
I
Ronda
like
killing
Ronda a
it.
lot. I'm a Brock Lesnar guy.
No, and Brock
personally. Like,
Brock
that's
will
my
be
guy.
back. You'll probably be over. We'll see
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Cormier for the heavyweight championship.
Lesnar.
And how about this? John Jones coming back after his whole
like
thing.
John Jones.
Yeah, John Jones.
I like
We'll
John
see about
Jones,
that. So, what else you got for us? I dug us in, but I was just
So
interested to
that's
see.
part of TV. Like I
Yeah.
said, like, this is stuff, like, it's very accessible. Like, I do watch, like, if I'm on the bike, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, fighting's fighting. Like, it's fun. It's
Yeah,
cool.
right.
Like,
Combat
Friday night,
sports is combat
Friday
sports.
night, you're watching Lilius Penn boxing. You're like,
Yeah.
I'll watch a couple rounds.
Right.
So that's TV, obviously. So South Park was good. UFC fight coming up this weekend. Plenty of sports. We're in playoff mode. Basketball's coming back.
Hockey.
Football's not even
Week
just
5.
getting started. College football's getting interesting with a couple undefeated teams. That's really it for TV. Any other news in the big world? Obviously, we had a couple politics things. We really stay away from politics because I think this scenario, the whole Kavanaugh thing, is just so ridiculous that we're not even going to get into it because there is only one right answer to it, and we're just not going to talk about it.
Can I just say one thing? And I don't think it's political. I just think anytime it's a major position, a major authoritative position that has a lot of power, we need to turn every rock, good or bad, both sides. I think the one thing I would say is maybe both sides need to check themselves because it's looking kind of disgusting both ways how you could parade two people who you're ruining their lives, whether they put themselves in that situation or not, whatever you believe, you're putting these two people through the dirt for maybe no reason or maybe for all the reason in the world. And fact remains is you've made this a political statement when it's a social statement. And I would love it if anybody who has any power, we do learn about them. And that's just it. That's my stance on it. Whenever it's a position
Especially
of power,
when you're voting on and you vote for people to vote.
I want the information. That's all I want. I just want to be
on
informed.
both sides.
I just want to be informed.
Hillary. It could have been.
I don't care.
I just want an investigation.
Just give me information and let me decide.
Simple.
Let me decide what I want
what
and what
I
I
find atrocious, what I don't.
That's it.
It's very simple.
That's it.
That's our stance. We're not going to get any more into it. I thought something else that was interesting. Kathleen Kennedy got signed another 3-year deal.
Yes.
And I think we're a big team Kathleen Kennedy here. I don't think anything. I do agree that sometimes maybe Star Wars decides to play a little safe.
Yes.
I don't blame them.
No,
I don't think that they're doing it to be assholes. I don't think they're doing it because they're rich. I mean, I don't think they're doing it because they're like, our way's the best way. Sometimes are they a little lost in their ways? Yes.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, we've got a very diverse, great TV show. They did hire a lot of cool new directors and TV things. Yes, Solo people wasn't that good, and the marketing was bad. They made a mistake. I get it. But what's fun is I thought that since the DVD came out, more people were like, Solo wasn't that bad.
Because I think I think what happens is we all, and I'm a victim of it especially, expectations and hype and wanting it to be great is such a part that you have to take away. And what I'm starting to do personally for our show and for our audience is I'm trying to do the thing where I do with sports, is trying to take myself out of it and just be as neutral as you can with it. Because the fact is Kathleen Kennedy is the same person who found and gave Adam Driver a spotlight. And, you want, for all you guys who get threatened because, we have a lead in a Star Wars movie who's a woman, who think that Daisy Ridley is somehow hurting the brand or whatever, or, you know what I'm saying? But, like, if you want to be that type of person, cool. I'll give you a fact. She gave us Adam Driver, period. Like, Adam Driver's not a superstar. He's not on SNL. He's not a Black Klansman without being Kylo Ren.
My favorite.
She made that decision.
Yeah.
And then for all those, then let's take those jackasses out who only think that only men and a white man needs to be that. How about the fact for all of us else who want to see some diversity in there? Boyega in this made him a star. Oscar Isaac.
I love Oscar.
Okay,
Diego
Luna.
I forgot who they just signed someone today, a Hispanic actor for the new series.
Oh, Pascal.
Yep.
From Narcos and from Game of Thrones.
They just signed him. He was the Viper.
Yeah,
he will be in the new series.
Yeah.
So she's doing the right thing. And I'll put this statement out there. And you admit it, you were a little biased. If Solo comes out in December and we get that trailer Super Bowl and it decides to come out in December instead of that, I think we all start speaking a way different tone.
Yeah, but
I think that one thing that people refuse, that they're not moving it, the reshoots, I'm not going to like it. And they went into it being like, I'm going to judge it hardcore instead of being like, this is actually a very fun Star Wars movie.
Sure, but then you also, and it's
better than Rogue One.
It's not, but it's one of these things where you have to take into consideration that Kathleen Kennedy also made the decision, and maybe it's not just her, but she's a high enough up there that they decided to put this movie in between Infinity War and Ant-Man.
It was a bad spot.
It was right there with Deadpool.
Why
are you doing that? Why are you doing that? It's the same reason, like, if you look at what's going on into next year, people are spacing themselves out. We are just counting down to Aquaman does. Yeah. But we live in a reality where that you have to. Star Wars isn't. I think Christian Harloff said this best. Another godfather of the podcast world for any of you guys who are like that. Yeah. He, for the longest time, and I used to badger him about this, and I used to badger you about this about him, where he thought because of his heart of hearts where Star Wars ranked that everybody else thought that. But I knew that the people I talked to obviously appreciate Star Wars, but it was the Avengers. It was Marvel had taken that role of that pop culture relevancy. And you cannot feel, it's what Theo Epstein said today for all you sports fans about the Cubs. You can't just think you're going to win because you're the Cubs. You can't just think that you're going to be the best movie of the year, you're going to crush the box office, and everybody's going to forgive you because you're Star Wars. Back when The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith came out, the internet wasn't what it was before. So the outcry was much more lower. It was different than it is now.
Even with Marvel, as like we put it on a pedestal because it's been on a hot streak. But we're very, what even for me, like people they didn't respond well to Thor 2.
No.
Or
Iron Man 2 or 3.
Or Avengers 2. Like, so like no one's perfect.
No.
It's just who's in news today? Obviously Star Wars recently is like, oh, Last Jedi was this. And did you hear the nonsense with Last Jedi?
Yeah.
The hacker?
The hack.
I knew it. I knew Last Jedi was an instant classic.
Did you hear about the Lady Gaga stuff? A Star is Born, which comes out this week with Venom.
It's just poison, though.
It's totally poison. Yeah, it's so. We love you, internet. We love you.
These edit accounts are just ridiculous. I think that's enough for today, Mike. How about
you ready to go home?
I'm ready to go home because
let's go ahead.
Now we're getting into like robots like messing up this movie and helping Gaga, then against Gaga. Like these online trolls are fighting each other.
It's crazy. Before we go, what is your prediction box office wise of Star is Born and Venom? We said it's going to be 60-40, so officially before we leave, give me 1 and 2.
Venom is going to make 45.
Okay.
45 to 50. I'll give it that.
Okay.
And Star is Born will make 35 to 40.
I'll go 47 for Venom.
Okay.
I'll go 36 for Star is Born.
So we're the same guys.
Yeah.
So we both think it's within, I think minimum within 10 million.
Cool.
Whether they both underdo it or overdo it, I think within 10 million is good. I would be happy and shocked if A Star is Born takes number 1. Because that is real. If it takes number 1 over Venom, you might as well give them all the Oscars. Because even La La Land didn't even do that.
Yeah, no.
You give them, you get Bradley Cooper it, you get Lady Gaga, you get Bradley Cooper again for directing.
Just one more time.
You get Dave Chappelle for Best Supporting Actor. I don't care. But, like, I don't think it will. But if it ever does, like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, Gaga, you are a queen.
I'd be
slay, lady, slay.
I'd be impressed. And obviously, we'd be remiss to say, Alex, it is October. It is one of the best months of the year. It is time to get spooky. So we will start.
1 year anniversary coming
and we are going to the 1 year anniversary. So
what should we do for the show?
We'll figure it out.
Tell people online. Mike, talk to the internet. Tell the internet to tell us what to do.
Internet, produce your show
That's
for
us.
us.
That's how it goes, right? Like, tell them what they want us to do for our 1 year anniversary.
You got us for free.
Maybe we'll listen to our first episode.
But definitely, it is time to get scary, and we will watch some scary movies for you guys, and we will keep everything up to date since Oscar season's right around the corner. Holiday season's right around the corner. Guys, it is a busy time for all of us here on the network, and we thank you so much for always making us a part of your day. We really, really love it and love you guys for it. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex. I'm at Mercado2333. You can also follow Nicole at Typing When Tipsy. We're all on Instagram. He's at Mercado2121. Nicole's at Typing When Tipsy. I'm at Mike Mercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. We're on YouTube. Subscribe to us at Mercado Airwaves Network. Like, rate, review, and share us anywhere you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. A huge thank you to our friends that power the show at Munch Art Design. Like them on Facebook at Munch Art Design. And check out all our interviews with athletes and celebrities ad-free and before anybody else on Patreon. Patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves for the good brother himself.
And I'm gone.
I'm Mike Mercado. We'll see you on the next episode of The Good Brothers with Alex Mercado and Mike Mercado on the Mercado Airwaves Network.
If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all of Nicole's work at typingwhentipsy.wordpress.com. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex. Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, Mike Mercado2333. Thanks for joining us here on The Good Brothers, here on Mercado Airwaves. If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all of Nicole's work at typingwhentipsy.wordpress.com. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex. Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all of Nicole's work at typingwhentipsy.wordpress.com. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex. Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, MikeMercado2333.
What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
It's another day at the office. I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones,
Orlando, how you doing,
Hey,
buddy?
sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
and all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.